basically the
I was like, okay, get out.
Okay, we are in happy every single day because it looks like they're going for an event every single time, and it's like, did I not get an invite? Did I miss the memo? Are we all going somewhere?
Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to the farm. Karibu sana. Go ahead and subscribe if you enjoy this content. So I hope you enjoyed episode 4, talking about the housing and finding housing in France. And now let's get on to the video of the day today. The topic is
The most shocking thing about being in France for me has been the clubbing culture. So people leave their houses at night, all dolled up, looking nice, and you know what they go to do in the clubs? They go sit down and chat with one another. Chatting, simple chatting that you could do over the phone. Not passing it down, nothing, just sitting down and talking.
So the most shocking thing I think I have experienced in my time here in France, I think it must be the food, because I've of course like experienced very different things being in a new environment, but it must be the food, because I remember it was just the week that I got here. So I got in France on around, I think, Wednesday or Thursday. So the weekend, a teacher invited me like to her place for lunch. So she at lunchtime I went and bought baguettes. You know, like you can't just. I was told that if you if you get invited out for like lunch or dinner, you have to bring something, some wine or like a baguette. Yeah, so I got my 2 baguettes, and then she came. She picked me up. So we went to her house, and then when we got to the house, she was cooking. She was like frying meat, like which was like steak. So and then she came to me and she asked me like, how do I like my meat? And like me trying to be modest and everything, I was like, like anyhow, if I meet a girl, like no problem. Like any kind of meat, I'll just eat it. So she was like, okay, cool. When I went and sat down, and then she I saw her, she took the stairs, she put it on she put it on the oven like 1 minute, 2, and she didn't even film it. 1 minute, done. She took it out, and then I'm there like, okay, maybe it's like this kind of like GMO meat, it cooks very fast, I don't know. So like the meat arrived on the table. I took my fork and knife, I cut the meat, and there was blood dripping out of the meat. And I'm like, how am I supposed to eat this? And as I look at them, they are like enjoying it, like, good, so good, and there's like blood dripping out of the meat, and I'm like, what am I going to do? I just ended up like cutting big pieces of the meat, like stuffing up into my mouth. Good times.
the most shocking thing I experienced when I came here was probably the PDA. You know, coming from an African country, I mean Kenya, there's not much PDA. You know, people don't show love, you know, like CG holding hands in the streets, you know, giving her 2 kisses over here in the streets. No. Those things are done in your house, in the comfort of your own home or your parents' home. But for me, you know, that was just not normal. Okay, it was I knew that there's PDA in like European countries and everything, but you know, kuna PDA na kuna BDA. So for me, the PDA was just so shocking. Like, you know, like, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot to take in. Yeah, it was very a lot. Because it's everywhere. And I mean, when I say everywhere, I mean everywhere. So yeah, that for me was, and it's so awkward. It is so awkward. Like, yeah, it's really awkward. At least for the people around. Okay, at least for me, it was just so awkward. Yeah, so that's one thing I was like, okay guys, get out of the room.
I really like how the French dress, like their mannerism of dressing to me like looks very sophisticated. It's definitely something I would want to like incorporate in my daily, you know, lifestyle. But I'm just like, okay, we are happy every single day because it looks like they're going for an event every single time. And it's like, did I not get an invite? Did I miss the memo? Are we all going somewhere? Because they all look like they're going somewhere every single time. And I really admire how like when you're leaving the house, you literally look your best. I'm going to be there in jeans and sneakers and I'm going to buy bread. But they're going to be all dressed up to buy bread. And I'm just like, gosh, memo, anyone? Anyway, and then I also know that like the French country is literally the home of like, you know, haute couture, because we have like the high fashion brands like Louis Vuitton, we have like Dior and Chanel. So you can definitely see the inspiration. Like I can see it. I can see how like their dressing will be this important to them, and I really love it. Another thing that I like about the French culture is definitely like the French cuisine. I'm still figuring it out. I can barely finish a baguette, number one, and they can easily eat it in one sitting. This one time I was at work and I had my normal food and I think a yogurt or a fruit, I'm not even sure what I had, and this man literally walked in with a whole baguette. He had a baguette, he had an appetizer, he had a main meal, okay? He had an after meal, he had a dessert, and it's just like, okay, these are 5 things. Na jakula fruit mado, and it's just like, are you okay? Are you not bloated? Are you feeling sick somewhere? And I get it. They eat in small quantities, but it's just like, how are you able to eat all these things in one sitting and smile at me after? Because I'm there with just my 2 meals and I am so full. And also, have I mentioned the wine? I really love wine here. I'm still like figuring out my taste, but I know I love rosés. I love the red wines. There is so much to choose from. Like I'm even struggling to think like what type of wine I love. Like, and I know the fact that Lyon, like this city that I applied to, is literally like the gastronomical city of the country. And it's just like, I wanted to learn more about it and how it influences like, you know, part of the French culture. And have I learned anything? Not yet, but you know what? We live to try another day. Another thing that I like about the French culture is probably the French art. I'm not an artistic person. I'm not into arts like that, but I've really seen how important like these museums and structures are to them, how important they are, and to the point where buildings in France literally look like they belong in a museum. Obviously not all of them, but I have seen buildings that look so good. You just wonder, people actually live inside these buildings, you know. And I've noticed that despite the fact that each city has like its own unique thing, the buildings literally look the same. Mind-blowing, right? Like the design is just so amazing. I would have wanted it everywhere if it was me anyway. So yeah. Another thing that I really like is definitely like the holidays. I'm not saying I don't like working, but it's just like I've been on so many holidays since I got here. It's just like we have a 2-week holiday next month, and then the month after that we're going for spring break, and it's just like hiya. But now, yeah, we have the pandemic, so now we've been on holiday. But hey, what else do I like? The celebrations, I guess. The moment I got here, we had like a festival of nuts, chestnuts actually, and it was so amazing. It was literally like a carnival. It was so good, and I really enjoyed that. And that is something that I definitely would want as part of, you know, like a culture. So it's really good.
My best French culture is meals. Oh my god, these guys just eat like wow. I'm not talking about the taste of the food, I'm talking about the whole ceremony. Let's call it a ceremony of eating, like lunch or dinner or everything. They just, they take their time to eat, and they eat. So unapata, it's like, for example, lunch or dinner. So there's like salad to begin, salad and baguette. You guys know baguette, of course. Like, you cannot miss baguette in a French home. If you miss baguette in a French home, you're not in a French home. It's a scam. It's a scam. So yes, so it's, you start with the salad, for example, and then after the salad, that time I'm just like, it's about time, nimeshiba. I'm just like, it's time, naona kama nimeshiba. So after the salad, you go straight now into the main meal. You eat the main meal, which is pretty good as well. It's pretty heavy as well. After the main meal, now there comes dessert. And then there's always dessert here. As in, the way in Kenya, you only have dessert. Okay, at least for me, let me speak for myself. In Kenya, dessert is usually just like when you're in a fancy restaurant, That only happens like once in a while. Here, like, dessert ni kama ibada. You do it like every time, and I'm just like, yes guys, yes. And then after dessert, I don't know which one comes before or after. There's now just eating cheese, like cheese like that. That does not work for me, but I mean, you eat, and during this whole time, you have like conversations. It's not just eating like aimlessly. It's usually like a ceremony. As I said, eating is a ceremony. You have, like, for example, a family all together or friends all together, and that time when I go for lunch, for example, in a French home, I know lunch starts at 1. Okay, not 1, 12, around 12. I know 12 to 7 you're on lunchtime, because wow, you guys, when you start eating, I don't know, it's like a social gathering. Meals are social gatherings. You see, for us, we usually have social gatherings, and then we have, like, during a social gathering is when you have a meal, like, for example, a birthday or something. But here, a meal is the social gathering. So that thing just blows my mind. Like, it's so amazing. You talk about everything. You talk about life. You talk about politics. You talk about you talk about just everything and anything. And I love that. I really enjoy that. Like, it's a very wholesome meal, and that's why you get to know people, you get to know the family, you get to know everything that's going on within everyone's lives. And then after, there's sometimes you play games or something. As in, a meal is a ceremony. It is a meal. And then of course, in a French home, okay, at least in the ones I've been in, most of them, they never likes wine, like, during a meal. For example, like a meal on Sunday. Oh, yes. So you can imagine that amount of eating. And then it's eating, drinking, and just sharing, and just that to me is like the best culture ever. Amazing.
French cultures that I really appreciate are, one, la bise, which is basically the that is shared by everyone with everyone across genders. It just comes with such positivity and such good vibes that I really appreciate. The second one is la politesse française, which is basically French politeness. This is where everyone is deliberately polite with you, especially if they do not know you. So, for example, if I get onto a bus, I have to say hi to the driver, and on alighting I have to say goodbye, thank you and goodbye. When I get into a shop, it's the same thing. I have to say hi to the vendor and goodbye on leaving, and it is just this basic acknowledgement of one another that wows me. It's so ideal.
Having like lived all my life in Kenya, and then starting living out in a different continent, a different country, different continent, with different people, even like starting from just the skin color, the culture, everything, and then having been accustomed to, you just walk, because like in Kenya, like of course everyone is African, so you don't like really like get too self-conscious, because 90% of the people we are all the same. So being in a place where you walk out of the house and you immediately stand out, it has been a new thing, like a bit challenging for me, and more so being African. So because African compared to the French, like the cultures, we are a bit more reserved. So some of the things they will do, some of the things we'll do here, of course you can't do back at home. So that has been a new experience, and also being a Christian, coming to a place where like religion isn't that big, say, because I remember I was in class and I asked if there's anyone who knew what a church was, and the kids had no idea what I was talking about. They tried to explain to them a church is somewhere where people go to pray, and they don't even know to pray what is praying. So that was, it has been challenging, but like good challenges, like something that helps you grow as a person, and I really love it. Like just walking down the street, and then like you have to be like self-conscious because you're walking down the street, and maybe like you're the only black person there, so some people are looking at you weirdly. Some people have never seen a black person, so you'll be walking, people are just staring at you. I don't know. I'm not sure if they've never seen a black person. I'm just guessing, because they usually stare too much. So it has been a bit challenging, but good challenges.
In country. Now, I think this was always like my biggest fear coming here, because obviously I know I look different, I sound different, I talk different, I probably walk different. I don't even know. But coming here, I knew I had to be brave, I had to be courageous for that, I had to be ready, because now I feel like the spotlight is on me. Whenever I walk, whenever I talk, whenever I even do anything, I feel like they'll just turn and look at me and be like, who is this person? And I get it, we have like other black people here, but I'm not them, they're not me. So this definitely feels like it really weighs heavy on me every single time I'm outside, especially when like I go to a bus or when I'm in like a new place. I'm like, I don't know how they're going to welcome me, I don't know how they're going to perceive me, because I've been in situations where I've walked into a bus and everyone just won't stop staring at me, and it's like there are other black people, but what is so different about me that they can't stop staring? Or maybe I don't know if it's just like my insecurities of being like a black person here that make me think that they're all looking at me, but it definitely feels like my every move is watched. It's not a bad thing to like go out there and explore these things, but these are things that you definitely like have to always be aware about. And it's like every move you make, everything you do is questioned, is literally scrutinized, and that doesn't do good for anyone. And I'm still like learning to be able to live with that. I don't think I'll ever get comfortable with having people stare at me and look at me, but it's just something that I have to go through every single day, But now I'm in the house because of the pandemic, so I've not interacted with anyone so far. So I don't know, so far so good.
So first of all, you feel very black. like that's when you know in Kenya you're told you're black, and we're like yeah, of course we're all black. You see everyone around you is black, but when you arrive in a place where you're like the unique one, you're the different one, like you're the one with the different skin tone, you become very self-conscious. Yeah, and it's very sad, but there are just things you can't do. Like you're just self-conscious just because you're black. Like for example, when I go into the supermarket and I hear that the things at the entrance of a supermarket beeping, I like, it's not me, I didn't do anything, Thought that when I'd arrived that people would ask me like those questions for, oh, which tree do you live in, or I was ready for those answers, so ready for those questions, but I really did not experience such. I think the ignorance is less, I think, yeah, so people do not assume like you live on a tree or but there's that always assumption that you're in a poor country or something like that. Exactly. Secondly, there are people who just look at you, they're just looking at you. Watu wanakuangalia. Especially when I wear like my hair in an afro or something, I can definitely see some eyes. Or when I wear like something Ankara, people are just like, And then there's this thing in European countries where when you see a black person, I don't know, there's just something, as in it's like, so there's like a familiarity, and I don't know, you feel like you should say hi or you shouldn't, like there's like a weirdness over there. Some people actually say hi, like me, if I see a black person and I smile back, of course I'll smile. I'm just, it's like we're in this together. But some of them are just like, what you doing?
Being an African in Europe basically means that you are the spokesperson for the entire continent. Really, yeah. You're going to be asked about literally everything and anything that's happening in Africa. And the whole thing about Africa being a country is now going to become more elaborate. You're now going to understand that saying more. The other thing is that your blackness now becomes what is the word for it? Your blackness now becomes a very big part of you. Normally when you're at home in Kenya, Nairobi, you don't have much to worry about. But when you come here, all the politics that accompany blackness, you're going to have to deal with that almost every day of your life here.
When I was coming to France, I thought when I was coming to France, I had watched 20 Years. And if anyone has watched 20 Years, you know how much pain that series carries. So me, I was so ready for something like that. I was so ready for such racism. I was even quite scared. I even thought that I wouldn't come because of the whole racism thing, just being looked down upon and accused of certain things just because of your skin color. I wouldn't really say I faced a lot of racism, like really rude people and everything, but there's just some to racism, kidogo to just, for example, like now when I go to the supermarket or to a clothing store, I'd notice that the guards or the people around would really watch me, you just feel like followed. Immediately you enter the supermarket or something, you just feel like they're on your case, just waiting to see if you buy. This is one time I was at a really famous shop in France. It's like Galerie Lafayette. It's like really famous. It's for, if you got at the chums. So and I was going to buy like a serum or something for my skin. Let's not talk about the skin now. But so I was going to buy that, and I picked the serum, and then I was looking for the cashier and I didn't find it. Then a guard had followed me hardy when I was going to the other cashier. I was just like, no, the cashier is that other side. And I was just like, wow, okay. So you can.
I have not experienced blatant racism. Like, I do not have receipts to show that someone has called me a monkey. I, however, have experienced subtle racism, which is mostly very, very innocent and looks very harmless. But you know, people will say things, people will address you in ways that you can clearly tell that the conversation and their behavior towards you and with you is basically informed by the differences in your races. So that I have experienced, and I've had a lot of issues with people trying to put their hands in my hair. That's been my worst, honestly. I don't get it. It's like personal space, just don't touch me. Anyway, yeah.
Directly, no, I haven't experienced like a direct form of racism where people stare at me, or not stare at me, like spit at me or talk bad about my color. No, I haven't experienced that. Or people like crossing the road when they're about to approach me. No, I haven't experienced any of that. Have I experienced it indirectly? Yes, I have. I have seen it in the way people look at me. I have seen it even in the way people talk to me. It's like I cannot comprehend anything. Okay, fine. My understanding of the French language is not good. Fine, we agree that. But you can tell a difference between someone who's actually trying to engage with you and someone who is literally trying to look down on you. You can definitely tell a difference, and that is how I've felt with interactions I've had with like a lot of people. And another scenario I'll give is during the first times this child asked me if I came to France via bus or boat, and that really reflected poorly on Africa as a whole and even my country. And it was just like, why will they think that is an appropriate question to ask? Fine, I get it, they're children. So should we excuse such questions? I really felt that it was very ignorant. And why was an airplane not an option? Because we don't have airplanes, Amma. I'm not even trying to like raise an issue. I'm just trying to understand like where their head is at when they're asking these questions, you know. So I haven't experienced any direct form of racism, but I have definitely felt it. Yeah.
When you are traveling like to a European country or to the Western world, one of the first major things will be told is like under the racism, you know, like how to handle it, blah blah blah. So maybe when you're watching the movies, when they talk about racism, it's usually like this, like harsh racism, you know, like people will come up with pitchforks and like fire, like go back to your country, blah blah blah. So like in my mind, before coming to France, when you talked about racism, that was what I pictured. I pictured people coming to me like being violent, tell me to go back to my country, I'm taking their jobs and blah blah blah. But when I got here, I learned that racism is quite different here. It's more subtle, like it's more passive aggressive. Like someone will not come out and just tell you like, hey, you're black, I hate your guts, go back to your country. No, they'll just do stuff that you yourself will have to like fill out the blanks. And actually most of the time they do things like that you're not even sure, they just feel wrong. They do something that just feels wrong, but you don't know why it just feels wrong. So have I experienced racism? I think so. I'm not sure, because there was this time I went to the supermarket. Okay, I had been going to this particular supermarket for quite a while. I went there for like 4 times, and then I think the time that I went there, I usually like go there with my bag. And you know, in Kenya we're used to like you before even you walk into a supermarket, there are places where you can put your bag. So the first time I went into the supermarket, I did not like see the place where I can like put my bag. So I looked around, people were just entering with their bags, doing their shopping, going out. So the first time, second time, third time, went to the supermarket, did my shopping, no problem, with my bag on my back. And then this particular time, as I had finished doing my shopping, now as I was at the cashier's point, I like, when I was paying them, the cashier asked me to, like, can I see your bag? So actually she spoke really fast, you know, and it was my like first few weeks in France, so I didn't like get 70% of, like, I only got 70% of what she was saying. So I thought she was asking me if I was going to use my bag to carry the things, and I said yes, I'm going to use my sack. And then actually she was asking to check my bag to make sure that I had not stolen anything from the supermarket. So I was like wondering, like, because everyone else I could see, like, almost everyone had their bags, and like no one was being asked to open their bag to get checked. But because I was the only black person in the supermarket at that particular time, was being asked to open the bag. So it felt a bit weird to me. I did not want to cause like a big deal about it. So I just opened my bag, I got checked. And then, but when I left the supermarket, I really felt bad because it didn't feel right. Because why was I being asked, like, to open my bag? Like, of all people, very just like look like a thief. So yeah. So that wasn't cool.
So we've come to the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. You know, do the thing, the good thing. And yeah, I'll see you soon for episode 6. Bye.